What's up, you sweaty nerds and greasy degenerates? That's right, the golden hour is almost upon us. Kafka and Luka are arriving in Honkai Star Rail in less than 1 week from now. DOT's moment to shine in the sun is almost here, and DOT teams will be a fun and unique playstyle to the game, and the best team compositions are almost here in the form of Kafka, Luka, and don't forget about characters like Sampo. But today we're going to be mostly focusing on Luka and how he can synergize with Kafka, and we're going to go over what Luka will be providing to us in the game in the form of his combat abilities. So let's talk about it. So let's dive in, and I want everyone to understand this information is subject to change. Take this information with a grain of salt, okay? Because Hoyoverse is constantly changing the information for these characters before release very often. I almost didn't put up the numbers for the character because I didn't want it to be incorrect if this does end up changing, okay? So just be aware of that, alright? Now let's get into it. Luka's basic attack deals physical damage equal to 50% of Luka's attack to a single enemy. And of course, when you increase your traces, you can increase that amount if you so desire as well, just like any other character. All of these numbers can increase if you increase the traces for Luka. These are just base numbers, okay? So Luka's skill deals physical damage equal to 60% of Luka's attack to a target enemy. In addition, there is a 100% base chance of causing the target to bleed for 3 turns. While bleeding at the start of each turn, the enemy will take 16% of their HP as physical DOT, not more than 115% of Luka's attack. So think about how strong those two effects are on that skill. And it's going to be very, very skill neutral. So you only need to hit Luka's skill 1 time every 3 turns. This is really, really strong, okay? Because Luka can go out there, hit his skill, and then Kafka can just keep hitting her skill every single turn. And then all Luka has to do for 3 whole turns is just hit his basic attack after that. He is going to be very skill neutral or even skill negative, which is going to pair with Kafka really, really well. I can't compare the Sampo and Luka numbers at this particular moment in time, but I predict that Luka might be the best pairing for Kafka on release. So definitely consider Luka if you want to have someone good to pair with Kafka. Sampo is obviously the second best choice, or even first best choice. Okay, now let's talk about that other effect. While bleeding at the start of each turn, the enemy will take 16% of their HP as physical DOT, not more than 115% of Luka's attack. So imagine you're going up against a boss. 16% of the boss's HP is a lot of damage, okay? Now, one thing to remember though, and it is a lot of damage, but it can't exceed more than 115% of Luka's attack. So, this isn't a build guide. I'll make a build guide eventually for Luka, but build Luka for attack percent, okay? Attack percent everything. Attack percent body, attack percent, planar sphere, attack percent rope, attack percent substats, attack percent everything, okay? Build Luka for attack percent. That's his most important stat. Because one other thing else to remember, he has effects on him that have a 100% chance to put bleed on the enemy. He doesn't need effect hit rate, except for one ability that he has, and that's one of his talents, and I'll go over that in just a moment. But let's talk about his ultimate, okay? He receives 2 stacks of Fighting Will, and has a 100% base chance to increase the target enemy's damage received by 9% for 3 turns. Soon after, he deals physical damage equal to 198% of Luka's attack to the target enemy. So this is one of the things that was kind of nerfed on Luka's kit, but it's totally fine. Okay, so remember that damage received, he's basically debuffing the enemy by 9% for 3 turns, okay? This is like something you'd see on Pela or something on Silverwolf. That's really, really strong. And for 3 turns, that literally matches up with his skill. So he's going, and by the way, it's going to synergize with Kafka as well. So this is going to be really, really powerful, and on top of it, he's going to deal some damage as well. So this is a really, really good looking kit so far, in my opinion, for a DOT team. Luka's looking really strong. Now let's talk about Luka's other abilities. First, let's talk about his talent. After Luka uses his basic attack or skill, he receives 1 stack of Fighting Will, and he can get up to 4 stacks. This is something that he can also get from his ultimate. His ultimate will give him stacks of Fighting Will. When he has 2 or more stacks of Fighting Will, his basic attack becomes enhanced. And so if you use his ultimate, he's going to immediately get an enhanced basic attack, so just something to remember. When his enhanced basic attack, Sky Shatter Fist, hits a bleeding enemy target, the target will be immediately dealt bleed damage for 1 time equal to 68% of the original damage. At the start of battle, Luka will possess 1 stack of Fighting Will. So Luka is probably going to regularly have this Fighting Will basic attack going up, and that's really good because a lot of the time Luka will be skill neutral, and so he's going to want to use his basic attack a lot of the time. So this is really strong for Luka. If you can get, attack percent on Luka and maybe a good amount of maybe energy regen, maybe energy regen rope will be good on him instead of attack percent rope. So just something to consider there, because you want to have Luka's basic attack enhanced because he'll just be dealing more damage off of it, okay? Now Luka's technique. Immediately attacks the enemy. After entering battle, he deals physical damage equal to 50% of Luka's attack to a random single enemy with a 100% base chance to inflict bleed to the target. At the start of each turn, bleeding targets take physical DOT equal to their HP for a certain amount of turns. This damage will not exceed Luka's attack. Probably what they mean by that is 100% of Luka's attack. And then Luka gains 1 additional stack of Fighting Will. So Luka has a bunch of different ways to try to keep Fighting Will active. So you want to try to keep Fighting Will active so that his basic attack is always really strong and he's constantly putting DOTs. This dude loves putting DOTs on character. He loves making people bleed, okay? So I would build attack percent on Luka because you want his attack to be really high so that his DOTs can deal more damage. All of his DOTs are going to be based off of his attack. So make Luka's attack percent really high. So let's talk about Luka's Ascensions really quick. At Ascension level 2, when using his skill, he immediately dispels 1 buff from the target. That's really powerful. This is something you'd see on Silverwolf or Pela. Okay, and this is one of his passive abilities, you know what I mean? You're not even going to be thinking about it, and this is just going to happen. So he's a damage dealer who's supposed to be applying DOTs, and he's debuffing and dispelling the enemy? What on earth is happening? This guy looks really good. No wonder they nerfed this guy, okay? No wonder they nerfed him. At Ascension level 4, for every stack of Fighting Will obtained, he additionally regenerates 3 energy. This is a built-in combo, okay? Think about it. You're going to have an enhanced basic attack with Fighting Will, right? And you're going to be using your ultimate, so you're going to be using energy to get stacks of Fighting Will, which generate energy, right? And when you use your ultimate, you're going to be like applying debuffs and, DOTs, and like it's going to be absolutely bonkers. He's going to be using energy to gain energy back. That's really strong, okay? You don't need to be thinking about it too hard. That's just really strong. At Ascension level 6, when using his enhanced basic attack, every attack direct punch deals has a 60% base chance for Luka to use 1 additional attack. This effect does not apply to additional attacks, also known as follow-up attacks. So when he uses his basic attack, his enhanced basic attack, there is a 60% base chance for it to happen again. Now, every single other DOT effect that Luka has a 100% base chance to apply DOT. This is the only effect that Luka has that has a chance that's lower than 100%. So just something to think about. I would build Luka first and foremost around attack percent, then speed, then on a substat go for effect hit rate. And the only reason why you really need effect hit rate for Luka, in my opinion, is so that you can try to get his Ascension level 6 ability to work. Because could you imagine using your basic attack while it's enhanced and getting another basic attack literally every single time? that's going to get out of hand. That's really, really good, okay? And that attack damage is based off of his attack percent. So build attack percent, and then speed, and then effect hit rate in that order. That's my opinion. Now let's get into Luka's Eidolons. I found out from Genshin Impact that it's actually pronounced Eidolon, but I don't care. I'm going to keep saying it wrong for at least one more video. So, at Eidolon level 1, when attacking a bleeding enemy, Luka's damage dealt increases by 15% for 2 turns. This is not a bad Eidolon 1, considering most of his Eidolons are not that amazing in my opinion. At Eidolon level 2, his skill hits every time his skill hits an enemy with physical weakness, it gains 1 stack of fighting will. So that's not bad, but it is attached to some RNG, which is not that good, so not the greatest Eidolon in my opinion. And for every stack of fighting will obtained, it increases his attack by 5%, stacking up to 4 times. This is actually maybe his best Eidolon, because it can be at 5%, it could be at 10%, or 15, or 20. That's actually pretty decent, and it kind of varies based on how many stacks you have. So you're probably not going to be at 4 stacks all the time, so just something to remember there. And at Eidolon level 6, when his enhanced basic attack hits a bleeding enemy target, for every direct punch used by his enhanced basic attack, it will cause the target to immediately be dealt damage equal to the original bleed damage, 8% of the original damage for 1 time. So there's a little bit to unpack there, but pretty much every time his enhanced basic attack hits an enemy, it's going to deal increased damage. That's not too bad. I think his Eidolon 4 might be his best one. Maybe his Eidolon 6. If this video was helpful to you in any way, shape, or form, maybe leave a like and subscribe. If it wasn't helpful to you, I'm sorry, I suck. Go ahead and leave a hate thread in the comments. I'll see you next time.